Okay, if I could have, excellent, thank you for the audiovisual. You're so punctual, or you like me, you just desperately needed to sit down. I'm going to sit for this session. Good, excellent, thank you. Well, let's get started. I'll sit. Welcome to this session on the NTOs, Driving Hotel Sustainability Certification. You've met me earlier today, Randy Durband, the CEO of GSTC, and I'm going to say very little here, except I have to talk about emergency things like you've already heard before, but it's a requirement. So, some safety instructions, ladies and gentlemen. The premises have a voice-guided evacuation alarm. Therefore, leave the premises immediately if you're prompted to do so. The premises have 2 emergency exits. Look around. The closest one might be right behind you. I think it's all way behind in this room. In case of an emergency, there's a defibrillator in the lobby and here next to the stage. You see it?
He's here.
Good for you. Thank you, Nabil. Okay. So, we've got 1 hour at the end of the day and 3 speakers. And the topic, NTOs, National Tourism Organizations that drive hotel certification. Each of them have their own story and a very, kind of unique way of going about it. So we get 3 very distinct case studies. And so our good friend Elif from Türkiye, the TGA program, I'm going to let you do your own little mini introduction if you want to go further. Kevin Fisunoğlu from Malta Tourism Authority. Lindsay Morvan from Mauritius Tourism Authority. Okay. All 3, we've been working together a lot. There was a lot of deep thought that went into everything that all 3 of them did. But let's just dive right in. And Elif will go right down this order from left to right. Elif to Kevin to Lindsay. You can stand or sit. And Elif, please take it away.
Thank you very much. So I think with the presentation, it's better to stand. Good afternoon. It's my 3rd time on GSTC stage, actually. The first time was in Sevilla, which is now 16 months. And while we were in Sevilla, we announced a program in cooperation with GSTC. And now we will have the chance to share the outcome. So TGA is the Türkiye Tourism Promotion Türkiye Tourism Promotion and Development Agency. We have been established in 2019 by the Ministry of Culture and Tourism, and we are the governmental agency which is in charge of the promotion of the country for tourism. So what we are doing, in 2019, the ministry started a master plan for the Türkiye tourism strategy, which was very much in line with also sustainability development and sustainability marketing goals. And in 2020, of course, during the pandemic, we all had new needs and new dynamics, and the ministry announced a certification program for keeping the tourism business going on during the COVID times. And TGA, as a new body, has been entitled to coordinate the entire program through a CRM system in cooperation with stakeholders, hoteliers. So we created an ecosystem that was allowing us not to certificate only the hotels, but the restaurants, tourism cars, convention centers, ski lifts, all the tourism-related services whenever the season was coming and there was a need, and we were creating a new criteria in coordination with the industry and giving the certificates. But it was not us giving the certificates, it was the internationally accredited certification bodies. So in 2021, while the COVID was also leaving its effects, we started also working on more destination goals. And we started working on a program that is so-called Provincial Tourism Promotion and Development Program that was allowing us to create tourism city councils in coordination with all the stakeholders in the destination, which can be accepted as DMOs also, working with the ministry, working with other stakeholders. And in 2022, we started discussing how we can provide a sustainable transformation for our industry. Where to start, what to do. Is it destinations first, or hotels, or what we need to do? And we started searching different organizations, platforms, authorities, and we came up with GSTC as the umbrella organization to communicate, and we started talking with GSTC. And by 2023, our program was ready and it was announced. So what is the program? As GSTC also announced it as the first and exemplary program as a governmental level to create a mandatory certification program for hotels for sustainability. And we received the acknowledgement status from GSTC. And when we talk about it, it's a national program, but we don't have our own criteria. It is the GSTC industry programs, industry criterias, accommodation facilities set of criteria. There's no change, nothing has been replaced. It is entirely that criteria. But we have done was, we said that all the hotels in our country won't be able to receive the certificate in 1 day time or in 1 year time. They cannot do it at once. We need to find a solution to help them to achieve these goals step by step. And then we created a national scheme that was allowing us to create a national rules in terms of the set of criteria like tires, timing, and also making them in line with GSTC at the end. And our agreement with GSTC also includes tour operators and destination cooperation, which is not announced yet, but at the background we are working quite intensely. So what is the program? We have an annual certificate, 42 criteria, which is the GSTC criteria exactly. And the auditings are done by 15 companies, certification bodies. 4 of them are GSTC, before it was ASAI, accredited certification bodies. And the remaining 12 are the ones who were with us for the Safe Tourism Program. They are again all internationally accredited certification bodies, but they can only give the stage 1 verification document. They cannot provide the certificate. So if the certificate needs to be issued, then it has to be GSTC accredited certification bodies. So we have our national program, but that is 100% in line with the GSTC program. So as I said, all stages, they are all internationally accredited auditing companies. Stage 1, all the companies can do that, but when it comes to stage 3, GSTC compliant certification bodies can do that. And GSTC also assigned Cappadocia University as their training body to prepare the training manuals, run the training programs, not only for the GSTC auditors, but also for the GSTC stage 1 verification auditors. So we have 2 levels. And you are very familiar with those companies. Royal Cert is an international certification body which is based in Turkey, and their accreditation with ASAI I think took around 1 year time. And Bureau Veritas, Control Union, and Vireo were already accredited certification bodies. So we invited them to take part within our program. And the others, again, as you see, are international companies, including Turkey's Standard also institute that is belonging to government. And together with the trainings of the certification bodies, also the entire TGA team and the ministry's related department, which is the development of tourism facilities and investment department, their auditors also have been trained. So 125 auditors were also trained, and they are also in the ground to also audit the facilities that have the stage 1 document, if the auditings are well or not. And time to time we really write reports or give penalty to certification bodies, and all those communication is very openly with GSTC and their related bodies. So when we look at the numbers now, 16 months ago, I was on stage and giving the numbers, and I think I said that we are expecting to verify and certify around 12,000 facilities. But there are new openings, and some hotels from municipality document, they were transferred to also ministry document. So at the moment, we have 17,500 stage 1 verified accommodation facilities. And out of that, 902 are GSTC stage 3, which they are receiving also the GSTC certification itself. And when we look at the destinations, they are at all destinations, 81 provinces of the country. Antalya being the leading, according to number of hotels they have, the resorts and huge hotels. And Istanbul is following with over 200 certificates. And Muğla and İzmir are also following. So these numbers are followed every week. We have a dedicated certification team, CRM system. So we are coordinating, but the auditing and certification and reporting is with the certification bodies. And we do have dedicated website where the QR codes and everything can be checked. This is also the certificate that is produced by and issued by the companies. We have also our, in addition to TGA website, our Go Türkiye digital platform, which is our promotional destination platform. We also give priority to those hotels which has stage 3 certificate, that they have their dedicated areas, that any visitor, any B2B who are looking for and certified a sustainable hotel, they can see those hotels. But while doing all those certification, we are also working on all other areas. Sustainable tourism routes, outdoor and nature activities, local products, gastronomy, responsible travel. We are looking at it at a 360-degree manner, but certification started as the first thing because we had to provide a measurable system to be able to say that we have a sustainable program. We have, of course, challenges. We have solutions. Maybe during the Q&A, I will be able to reply those. And while finishing my words, I would like to share with you our video, which is telling also our story about sustainability. Thank you very much.
This is Türkiye. This country holds more beauties than just those you see. Türkiye is the first country to develop a comprehensive national sustainable tourism program, partnering with Global Sustainable Tourism Council. There are thousands of accommodation facilities verified and certified by the Türkiye Sustainable Tourism Program, acknowledged by the GSTC. Turkish Riviera embodies the city with the most blue flag beaches in the world. The historical and cultural treasures of Türkiye are included in the UNESCO World Heritage and UNESCO Intangible World Heritage lists. To protect the cultural heritage and bequeath it to future generations, hundreds of excavations and restoration works are being carried out. Even in the modern age, village life here retains its charm. Every meal is like a feast, with the flavors from the farm to the table. 5 restaurants have been awarded the Michelin Green Star, proposing a dining experience that has eco-responsibility at its core. Cyclists following the Eurovelo route pass through wonderful landscapes and ancient cities. Türkiye is a member of the enlarged partial agreement on cultural routes of the Council of Europe. It aims to bring together common history and cultural heritage on networks. This country is a place to slow down and enjoy the simple things. This is a paradise where the past and the future meet. Türkiye awaits you. Come and discover the natural, historical, and cultural beauties that will be inherited by the next generations.
Thank you, Elif.
Thank you.
I'm sure that we have many questions. We will use Slido. You're in the Hazelis room. We'll get to Q&A for all after we do all the presentations. I do want to add one quick thing, though, because we get this question a lot at GSTC. What is the rigor of it? I mean, you stated it, but I just want to emphasize it's the full certification according to our accredited certification, but you go beyond it. We have a 3-year renewal cycle that's standard in our in the accredited certification that may or may would require fewer on-site audits, and they're requiring an annual on-site audit. So our program is really very rigorous, we believe, and they've added rigor. So we get questions about, well, they've taken something away, right? Like, no, they've added on. It's a very rigorous program, and we're busy assessing and watching, and some of the certification bodies that come through get turned down. They have to go back. So I just want to assure you, very rigorous program. So very complex program. We'll have other questions, but I wanted to say that. Kevin, please take us to Malta and your story.
Hi, thank you, Randy. First of all, excuse me, I'm still shocked from the presentation on the Green Claims Directive. So,
EU member state.
yeah, and I'm gonna take this slowly. First of all, good afternoon. I know this is the graveyard shift, so I hope you're not sleeping. Let me take you through very briefly in this short journey that we went through with Randy and his brilliant colleagues at the GSTC. First of all, may I remind you where Malta is, because some people miss, we're such a small island that miss where we are. We're just south of Sicily, and it's very small. However, there is a resident population of about 500,000, and we have about 3 million tourists. So, as opposed to Sweden, you will never be alone in Malta. In 2024, January and February figures have shown a 27% increase of numbers of tourists as compared to last year. So that makes recovery from the pandemic full done and dusted. Our first eco label in Malta was launched in 2002, so that is before GSTC was actually set up. It was not obviously GSTC endorsed or certified because it was still premature. However, given that it was premature in the sense that the public did not really recognize the importance of such things, it wasn't so fantastic. It wasn't so popular. Later on, we tried to get GSTC recognition, which in fact we did. Audits were carried out by third parties. However, since it was not, it was a voluntary label, it wasn't so successful. So about a year and a half ago, when we took over the section, we had to make a decision. And past having the new tourism strategy, which is recover everything and revitalize, it's thinking about our small size and the number of tourists that we should get. And there was a whole discussion on quality versus quantity, and this led to the setting up of the Malta Tourism Observatory. And throughout this period, we were in discussion with people like Randy and Mihan and Roy, and we were discussing, listen, which way should we take? And we took the decision actually to stop our national label and go for something which is international. I mean, realizing that Malta is such a small country, and realizing that our label does not have value, given also things like the Green Claims Directive, we said, listen, we have to take a decision. We took a number of considerations, we considered a number of labels, and following a lot of thought and thinking processes, we came to the conclusion that GSTC is by far the gold standard of eco-labels. So we went for GSTC. It was not easy. We couldn't understand accreditation. We couldn't understand certification bodies. We couldn't understand why do you have to do this and the National Accreditation Board and we have to do, the different companies. It was a journey for us, but which was simplified by the very nice people of GSTC. I'm seeing Mr. Papas here, who's the Mediterranean regional coordinator, thanks to Randy. Every time we needed a meeting, they were online. Every time we needed an email, they were there. And it is thanks to them, and there's a difference between other labels, it's thanks to them that we understood what we needed and then went for the signing. I think the decision was taken in Antalya, in fact, when we were seeing what the Turkish national organization was doing, and it was incredible. And we said, listen, we need to go for this. And in fact, in December, we got Mr. Randy down to our small island, and we signed an agreement. And we got him to actually endorse our relationship. And there's our Minister of Tourism, our Chairman, our CEO, and Randy, of course. And then the next step is how to convince the private sector. In Malta, the Malta Hotels and Restaurants Association is the key player, the key strategic partner in terms of hotels. The same MHRA takes care of Mediterranean Tourism Foundation. So this thing how things happen. The Mediterranean Tourism Foundation has a very good relationship with Turkey. So they have the Bodrum Tourism Forum, they have a lot of people from Turkey coming over for the tourism forum. And all it needed, we told them, listen, Turkey just signed a huge agreement with GSTC. They have a national program. They decided that all hotels need to be GSTC certified. And the MHRA were on board. We also managed to go to the office of the Prime Minister, who actually endorsed this. And this link created other links to Malta Enterprise, the EU Funds Managing Authority, the Ministry for Environment, the Energy and Water Agency. So everyone's on board in a room in the office of the Prime Minister discussing these things. And we also made it to the National Energy and Climate Plan of Malta. So we managed to convince them to include the GSTC program and the eco-label itself as part of the EU-mandated National Energy and Climate Plan. So that is a commitment that the government has taken now with the EU to go for this eco-label. Of course, this is just the start. Although it's been a journey, we already have about 30% of our hotels who have shown commitment to getting to start the actual process of GSTC certification. And our team actually contacted each and every hotel offering help, assistance, and we will be obviously offering training and as much hand-holding as is possible. As it was difficult for us to understand, it is difficult for the industry to understand. And we found out that we need to talk to these players at two levels. The owner, trying to making him feel proud that he needs this thing, GSTC, this is the best, And then talking to the managers on site. It's not the same. It's not the same discussion. We found out that this way we can convince the owner to go that he needs this, whatever it is, and then we talk to the technical people, the GMs and the sustainability managers, to be able to explain in more detail what this entails. So I thank you, and I really wish to thank Randy, Roy, the Mihi, Giulietta, Ioannis, Yuzun, Estefania, Emmy, Tatiana, and all the other GSTC members, because that is what makes a hell of a difference. Okay, thank you so much. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. You forgot a few of us. But thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure. Well, let's carry on. We've got questions coming in. That's great. So, Lindsay, tell us about Mauritius, please.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Lindsay Morvan, Director of the Tourism Authority. In fact, the Tourism Authority is the regulatory and licensing body of the tourism industry in Mauritius. It operates under the aegis of the Ministry of Tourism. It was created in 2004, but it became formally a corporate body through the Tourism Authority Act of 2006. One of the main objectives of the Tourism Authority is to promote the sustainable development of the tourism industry in addition to regulating and licensing operators of the tourism sector. In fact, what we have done since 2018 now, we have started leading the greening of the destination through different actions that I will explain afterwards. But first of all, I wish to point out how our accommodation sector of Mauritius is set up. Before the COVID, we had around tourist arrivals of 1.3 million, 1.4 million. And perhaps it may be that I clarify that Mauritius is a small island which has a population of 1.2 million. But as from in 2019, we had 1.4 million tourist arrivals, but last year we reached almost 1.3 million, which is a good sign of recovery as many other destinations in the world of the tourism sector actually. And one of the things that we have the advantage of having now is that the length of stay, which was around 10.6 in 2019 before the COVID, has climbed up to 11.3. And even the spending of tourism, the total tourism revenue in Mauritius, which was 65 billion Mauritius rupees in 2019, climbed up to 85 million in 2023, because in fact what we have done, we have tried to reduce the tourists on the coast of the island to interior to the interior of Mauritius, where we have tourist sites. We have what is also very important is that Mauritius is a multicultural country, and we have people who are from India, from China, from Africa, from Europe, and we have people from different religions, and you have all these temples and churches that also considered as tourist sites. So what has happened? In fact, we have actually 4 types of tourist accommodation in Mauritius. You have the domain, 111 hotels, guest houses, and tourist residence. But from among the hotels, actually, we have around 44 of them which were certified. But before COVID, there was only 35 which were certified. So we think that this has been a good job that has been done to sensitize them to come up with certification, which is very important for our destination. So what we have done is we assisted the Mauritius Standard Bureau, which is in fact the corporate body of standards control and compliance in Mauritius. And we introduced the Mauritius Standard Bureau to GSTC in the year 2018, so that they be assisted with the MS 165, which was the standard accreditation process that was recognized by GSTC at the time. But we also assisted them in its accreditation as certification body. Actually, the Mauritius Standard Bureau is a certification body accredited by the GSTC, and May is coming to Mauritius next month to to confirm, to visit, and to check that everything is being done as per recommendations, as per compliance, as per criteria of the GSTC. So actually, we, over and above being certified by organizations, bodies, certification bodies like EarthCheck, Green Key Travel Life, but we also have these, the possibility for our organization in Mauritius, our operators in Mauritius, to be certified by the GSTC. Actually, we have 44 hotels certified, as I mentioned. Two operators certified because we have none of them before COVID. And now we are actually in the process of Belong for its certification, the destination certification, because the government of Mauritius has set the target that Mauritius be a green certification, green destination in 2030. And this will be done, we are in process of it. But what we have done, we have started with Belong, which is a village in the south of Mauritius, which is very much involved in sustainable tourism. It encompasses both private sector, the tourist hotels, but also the district council, the village council, and the population of Belong themselves. And with Rogers Hospitality, which is an operator of the tourism sector in the south of Belong, we have started actually the process of Belong as a green destination in the first step to reach, for Mauritius to reach the green destination in 2030. But the challenges that we have is that 85% of our operators in Mauritius are SMEs. And these SMEs have very small resources. They have less know-how and skills, and upfront investments is a bit difficult for them. Even time is a challenge for them, and also incentives. So we actually are trying to accompany them to be able to get this, to be certified to at least. But what we have done is we have collaborated with the WTTC, the WTTC program to have them at least starting to be certified, to get the basic criteria, WTTC basics. And we hope that this will be the first steps for them to be able to get certified afterwards, because we know that they don't have the. So actually, the opportunity is that we have created a platform which called the Horizon Eco, which allows all operators to evaluate, to measure their carbon, their CO, and also to allow them to start getting up to the criteria for being certified. So we actually have been training them on this Horizon.eco. And we are actually, for this year, we are holding the 3rd Sustainable Tourism Mauritius Awards, which reward the best sustainable operators in different sections. That is hotels, small accommodations, pleasure crafts, restaurant, and all these. And normally we have different criteria for the different sectors. And those who are rewarded, they get a free ticket and access to all activities that Mauritius Tourism Promotion Authority organize outside Mauritius. That is particularly in Europe. So they can then participate in fairs, international fairs, for those who are rewarded, and this allows them to get visibility at the international level. And we believe that actually we are in the right path to have all these maximum of the operators get certified, so that in 2030 Mauritius at least become a certified, a green destination. Thank you for your attention.
Yep. Excellent. Thank you very much, Lindsay. So we have 3 very distinct models. So in Turkey, we have a legal mandate very rich program. One of our questions is, we're going to turn to Elif early in the questions of Elif in Turkey. What financial and other support do you provide to accommodations? You can be thinking about training, I suppose, in the totality of it. But hold the thought a second. Let me just give you a chance to think about that. But again, 3 distinct models. So we got the mandates, 3 stages, 22, what is it, 17, 18,000 hotels?
17,000.
17,000 hotels. Wow. Kevin's still shaking his head over the EU Green Claims Directive discussion. So Rachel McCaffrey asked the question, what do you all think of the EU Green Claims Directive, how it's going to impact you? And Kevin doesn't know. But let's let that percolate a little bit more, and we'll all come back to that.
No,
but
we actually stopped our eco label at the right time.
you ran away.
So now it's your problem.
Okay, so that model is small island state, had a program, and wanted somebody else to run it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You wanted someone else to run it.
Yeah, we
and
wanted
you
to do
simplicity. You wanted simplicity of message.
It was our own audits. It was our own criteria, although GSTC endorsed. But we prefer the way GSTC does it. I mean,
And in all 3 cases, by the way, we're seeing things going on at different types of businesses. So our thrust here is kind of about the hotels, because that's where, when GSTC is just working with hotels and tour operators. But you all 3 have a full range of businesses that you're supporting. And I heard Green Destinations. Green Destinations has their own identity. They've been around a long time. They've got wonderful programs, but they're accredited by GSTC to certify destinations. So when you do Green Destinations, you're doing GSTC. So that's a little piece that everybody should understand too. So, and then in Mauritius, this is an interesting perspective in Mauritius, is that I think something that's very distinct about your program, you're the only program I know of in the world where the public sector is running your own program.
Yeah.
You got accredited by GSTC. And a big piece of that, correct me if I'm wrong, but because you in the tourism department, you went over to your national standards board. I don't think we can emphasize that enough, can we? That the tourism people went to the national standards board, the national experts on how standards and certification work, and say, what do we do? Is that fair to say?
In fact, exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
good. So 3 very different models. So there we have it. Thank you all. So let's look at the questions, and we'll start with the one I had already queued up with Elif, where the question is, what financial and other support do you provide accommodations? And again, I ask you to think of that holistically in the whole program.
Yep. First, I need to start that the ministry's approach about green hotels started in 2007. And by that time, it was in line with the Ministry of Environment, and it was providing kind of energy cost saving for the hotels. There were different programs like waste, management and so on, that the hotels were either obliged to apply to operate accordingly, and also there were other ways of, energy or waste management incentives that were provided outside of our program scope. While we were creating the program, it was not TGA's also authority to provide incentives for the hotels, direct financial. But what we have created as a model as part of this certification program is a promise them about promotion of our country, promotion of those facilities for the next generation, for the future. So actually, we have connected our promise with that rather than direct incentive for cost saving or other things. There are ways of doing that, that other Ministry of Culture and Tourism providing, that they are applying or they are using. But our program is relying on the need, which is, and what our minister also said while having the meetings with the industry, decision makers, we have to do it. Would you like to be the first ones doing it, or would you like to follow when everyone already started? So the idea was to provide an advantage for a country like Turkey, which is among the top destinations according to UNWTO numbers. Last year we were number 4 in terms of international arrivals. So we are a tourism country, and we have higher targets to increase even our number of visitors, number of expenditure per person. So we have to do something that is competitive. That was the biggest motivation of TGA, the ministry, and that message has been given to the stakeholders. And besides that, of course, as TGA, we have invested a lot, and we are investing with our cooperation, with our CRM system, digital platforms. We have trained thousands of auditors, verifying people. We have also trained the provincial tourism people, the city tourism managers, hoteliers, Cappadocia University and other platforms are providing online and face-to-face trainings. So all those additional services are complementary, but each hotel is mandatory to apply, and they have to cover their expenses for face-to-face auditing and all other things. So the point that we have started, not related with cost saving, it is more if you want to continue do your business in a competitive way, you have to do it. There's no other way of continuing in the coming years.
Good, thank you. Well, it's a very complex subject. There's a lot of pieces to it, because you could argue that even though the hotels have to pay for the certification, that massive infrastructure you've created of tracking is of great value to them. And it's something they know the market sort of wants. And I've already expressed the tremendously rigorous program, also one of the most inexpensive in the world because of scale. The certification bodies can set up an operation and they can operate at a better scale. So the cost is actually low, the rigor is high.
I think 1/10 of the existing GSTC certificate stuff. Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah.
They
and
need to
and
pay.
then the training we did at scale, or Cappadocia University, a local in the native language can go do workshops, low cost, scale brings price down for everything. But I want to come back to that point of there is that benefit of, when we were developing the program, and Dr. Yanis Pappas was the lead for us initially, but we all spent a lot of time there. And I was already impressed with your safety program during COVID, because we saw safety programs all over the world, right? Everybody had some kind of safety protocols. The fact that I could go to any hotel in your country and go to the reception desk and hit a QR code and see when the last audit was that this hotel was inspected for safety protocols and COVID. Very impressive, the whole whole IT system. So they took that IT system that they developed for safety, health safety, and applied it to sustainability. This is already built.
And even with the Safe Tourism Program, the auditing period was once in a month, face-to-face. And there were also anonymous visits each month. And the ministry and municipality were also doing other audits. So when we were discussing with Yanis long working hours, 3 years face-to-face or, remote checking, we said, no, at least we have to do it once per year. Even we discussed to do it twice a year, but then we agreed that, okay, once a year is okay. But even still, the ministry is arranging anonymous visits to the hotels to check if the documents are, proper, if the all auditing is being done properly or not.
Good, thank you. And we're going to come to the EU question in a minute, but I think this is also probably, the one from Marian is probably for Turkey. How about accommodations that already, oh no, this is for all of you really. How about accommodations that already have another label such as Green Key? Are they involved as well? Kevin, what about other labels? Where do they fit?
Well, we had to choose. There are some hotels who have a condition by their franchise to have another specific label, and we decided to recognize just another two, except for GSTC, and that is Green Key and the EU Eco label. We have to recognize the EU Eco label because it's the EU.
It's required as an EU member state.
Yeah, you know, it's. I think it's the least.
But it's not used much.
Listen,
Well,
I
that's
think
the
they
truth.
have.
I'm not making a.
I think they have about 500
Yeah.
hotels all over Europe. That's. So yeah, we accept that, but we stopped at 3. The Green Directive, although jokingly, I think is going to create some changes in this sector. So I think we have to wait and see what really happens, because, you know.
Well, since you brought it up, we'll come back. But Rachel's question is: to what extent do you anticipate the EU Green Claims Directive will influence the way you approach sustainability? You're saying you just don't know, or what do you think?
Well, can green tea be called green tea after this directive? We don't know.
All right. Well, we learned in the last session, I think, you were probably
I heard the word
that
leaf.
the
gonna be
requirements
used,
for the EU Green Claims Directive are distinct from certification programs, a whole other set of things. So to function, businesses need to be compliant, so they need to have partners that help them.
I understand that there is a lot of greenwashing and false claims. But the EU recently, we've been at the tail end of we're consultees to the Ministry of Tourism, and the amount of directives and regulations that are hitting us, food waste, food packaging, food recycling, reuse, and I'm worried about the impact of all these directives and regulations together on the small enterprise. It's not the large hotel chain that's going to be affected. They can appoint sustainability managers and, throw money at ESG reporting and all this. However, the small enterprise is going to be a problem.
Elif, any comments? Turkey is not an EU member state. It's a candidate, I believe, but your hotels...
Turkey is part of many EU agreements, and also we are the signer of, Paris Agreement and other agreements. So all we are doing for the certificate side, and also additional attempts that the Ministry of Tourism and other ministries are taking, are also to provide compliance of the entire country for sustainability, and we are very closely following. I was not at this session in person, but my colleague was there, so I'm also eager to hear what was discussed, previously. But I mean, the goal is actually with the certification to be ready to make industry ready with the EU compliance. This is something we cannot ignore, we cannot avoid. We all have to be, in line.
Okay. So you're far from Europe, but any
Yes,
comments you want to add?
we are not at all involved with EU recommendation, but still, most of our tourists come from Europe. First French,
A lot of French market.
the French one, then the British, the Germans, and Réunion, Ireland, and even South Africa. But still, most of them, the OTAs in Europe, work with OTAs in Europe who request them to at least have these.
And the hotels, as they market
hotels.
themselves to
Yes,
Europe,
to
and the
Europe, and
OTAs,
so-
it affects
so
everybody.
the OTAs request them to be at least certified. And there are even hotels who have 2 certifications, because one of their clients requests this certification and the other requests the other certification.
So
This also happens.
everybody needs to track the EU Green Claims Directive, because if you're marketing the EU, inside the EU, you've got to be considering it, because we're not sure exactly where it all lands. But I think let's summarize by saying none of us really know yet. We learned a lot of things today, but in our analysis, I mean, a lot of question marks. And then time. So then I think this is probably, let's say I'm looking at Virginia's question. This is Turkey. Back to you, Elif. How do you differentiate between the different certified hotel properties of your levels that have taken their sustainability measures? How do you differentiate?
when we talk about the other brands like Green Key, Green Globe, is the question?
No, it's about your own levels, your 3 stages, I think. Yeah. How do you differentiate between the different certified hotel properties in Turkey at which level they have taken their measures?
It's not that complicated actually. Stage 1 is 1/3 of the GSTC criteria, which is equal to 30%. And there's stage 2, which we have one certificate at the moment. Actually, the stage 2 has been created because the last date to comply with GSTC 30% was by the end of 2023, which we achieved. There's only the seasonal hotels that were closed during the time. They will be opening in the summertime and this winter and summertime type of hotels.
So you extended for them to August?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Everybody
even
has to be a
it's not
stage 1 by
been,
August,
you know,
right?
officially set in terms of a date. We said that if the hotels are open, they have to have it. So it is at the moment in line with the goal. The stage 2 is being created, which is 70% of GSTC, to have all those 17,500 hotels to have the stage 2, which is 70%, which is 31 of the 42 criteria by the end of 2025. And then after, until 2030, all the hotels should comply with GSTC certificate 100%, which is stage 3. And at the moment, we have 902 hotels that are already stage 3. And we are aware that at the moment, even there are a couple of hundred hotels that are at the stage of having audits, or either they had their audits, but they have to, adopt some, measurements and do some new things to be able to receive their certificate. So there's no kind of the very complex situation. It is just the GSTC 1, 2, 3, and the mandatory obligatory status is related with the time.
Have you set a stage 2 timeline target?
2025.
End of 2025.
It's been announced.
It's been announced.
Yeah.
Okay. So only one has gone to stage 2, but 902 are at stage 3, which, because in all those 17,000 plus hotels, there were many that had gone quite far in their journey already, right? So they were ready to just skip stage 2. So this is an important point. You can skip a step. You can just go.
Yep.
Yeah. So one has gone to stage 2 because it's not required yet. Right?
And when we started the program, there were already a couple of 100 hotels with Travel Life, Green Key, Green Globe, and Earthcheck, and so on. So they were the ones who decided to go stage 3.
So we'll see the rate of stage 3 slow down a bit, because all of those entities that have really done something for a long time, they went right to stage 3.
We expect mainly the 4-star, 5-star hotels will be the pioneers. We don't think that they will wait until 2030. So there will still be some progress going when we are discussing with our colleagues at the ministry. We think that still it's going to continue.
Yeah, and then there's a number of brands in the world that are requiring it by the brand level, and they're pushing it themselves. So that's interesting. Okay, so let's see what else we have. I think that was only for you. Is that clear in that, in terms of differentiation? I mean, it's absolutely stated on levels of verification and the number of attributes. So I think. Okay, let's look at Simone. Quality or quantity? All destinations on the stage are known for mass tourism. How do you transform your tourism sector so that the local economy, local communities benefit? Lindsay, can we start with you?
Just as I mentioned earlier, we have been a destination very much known for Sensi, as the three S's, Sensi and Sen. But since the past years now, particularly after COVID, we have encouraged more and more tourists to get inside the country, but also reduce the many of the hotels on the beaches, and they have tourists who come and stay in the hotel, and they do not move out they're on the beaches and the sea and sea-based activities. So what we have done, we are encouraging people to get more and more involved in activities inside the country, because we have also mountains and hiking possibilities, etc. But also to meet the population. And this, as I said, has given some results, because, as I mentioned, in 2019, our revenue was around 45 billion Mauritian rupees. But in 2023, it became up to 65 billion. Even if we consider the inflation into it, but it's still 65 billion compared to 45 is still. So what we are doing, we are reducing the impact on the coast, because we are a small island developing state, and we have regularly problems with the rising of the sea around the island. So we are actually concentrating on this, and even during the opening of before the opening of after COVID, before the opening of the frontiers, we ensured that the population also is involved and are prepared to welcome tourists, because many people were saying that if ever we open too early, we can come up with lots of cases of COVID. You know, there was all these fears. So, in fact, many of the actors in Mauritius, local actors in Mauritius today, recognize that tourists are very much more involved with the inside of our country, and we also with our communities.
Good. Kevin, in the program you had in the past and what you see now in any of these certifications, the question is community impacts, aside from environmental issues and whatever performance. Do you think that hotels that are certified perform better in terms of community engagement and do better at supporting the community?
Yes, however, the numbers discussion is always a very painful one. Although these hotels engage with the community and they have, activities and education and environmental cleanups and what have you, and even the way they operate, we've seen changes. However, the discussion of whether you have mass tourism against quality tourism is very painful, because, first of all, you have to realize that this is a triangle. You cannot just choose the top bit. Only some countries can afford to take off the cream and just use that. So you need, a triangle of tourists that actually make it to your country. Now, we haven't reached the level where we have, protests in the country and you have rents that go up so much that you can't afford to rent or buy a property. But we're not very far off. So I think we need to take some serious steps sooner rather than later in terms of this discussion.
Okay.
However, what I can say is that we've improved.
Yeah.
So compared to what our tourism profile 15 to 20 years ago, people from the north used to come and spend winter in Malta because it was cheaper to stay in Malta rather than heat their homes in England or wherever. That's over. We cannot compete with the lower cost destinations. So Malta has become more expensive. And fortunately enough as well, the graph throughout the year has evened out. So in January and February, we have as much tourists as we did in August 8 years ago. So, that's some.
A lot more global travelers are traveling.
Yeah.
Almost out of time. Elif, I'm going to turn to you for singularly on our last question from our friend Mrs. Nishimatsu in Japan, asking, has there been a change in customer behavior or evaluations as hotels in Turkey have progressed in acquiring certification, for example, repeat rate, etc.?
It's still quite early to be able to measure this first. And last year, I remember on stage, Booking.com was there and other couple of OTAs. And they said that still the customers are not willing to pay extra for the sustainability certification. We know that, but we know also at the B2B side, tour operators, airlines, corporations, they are asking for this. And we know that I am also mother of a Gen Z, and they are looking for that. And they will be ready to pay more. But it is a development, and it will continue. And if I connect my answer with the previous question, as yes, Turkey is a mass tourism destination, but Turkey does all types of tourism. And out of these 17,500 hotels, only 5,000 are big hotels. Majority of them are small pensions, boutique hotel, local run business. So it is also affecting the communities. So we need to find a way first also to provide more engagement with the local communities, help small business, but at the same time also to help the mass tourism to be transformed to a better one. When we choose GSTC, there were lots of questions. I mean, how you will make all those hotels sustainable. And I mean, we all know that if you want to be 100% sustainable, we should not do anything. We shouldn't be here. But what we are trying to do and what we have understand from GSTC criteria, if you are doing it better to next day, it's a starting, and you will do it better the other day. So it is going to continue like that. And as the businesses, economies, destinations, we will learn from that. Otherwise, if we don't continue doing the mass tourism or, you know, all other things, then people will not be able to travel, the families. And during COVID, we have seen that traveling is really very important for us, for our health, physically and mentally. So when it comes to customer, we know that they are looking for that. If they have two choices, they pick the sustainable one. They pick the certified one. And all those certificates are available in all OTA platforms. The tour operators are looking for that. They are very actively promoting it. So, I mean, it is really a good way for the businesses, even they are small or big. Even for the small businesses, it is more important if they are part of a hotel chain, like Marriott, Hilton, and so on. They have their all systems in place. They know how to do it. But when it comes to small enterprise, when there's a national program that is created by the government, it is also a know-how for them, which is for free. And it is also a way for them to promote themselves and to differentiate themselves from the others. So, I mean, there are so many benefits for the hotels that they are aware. Now they are happy. At the beginning of course, there were lots of objections as it's going to be a mandatory program. But now we see that the hotels are thankful. And we are working also on the other side, especially for gastronomy, for the restaurants, which was a request from the restaurants. We want to also have
They
a
asked.
certificate.
Wow. That's very encouraging. Everything you just said is so encouraging. And I'm happy we're ending on this note of the traveler, because we keenly watch the market research. The best market research we've seen in recent years comes from Booking.com, and one of their recent global traveler surveys showed that 53% of travelers say they are annoyed when the service provider is not green enough. And you mentioned young generation, and I think we see that all over the world. The youth are upset, but I'm not young, and I get upset, and I'm frustrated. I don't even get asked in satisfaction questions in hotels and destinations. I don't have a place to lodge my green concern. But yet, I know in my 40 years of travel and tourism, the essence of marketing in travel and tourism, whether you're a hotel or a tour operator, a destination, it's client satisfaction, because repeat and referral is king in marketing and travel and tourism. And we need to pay attention to the fact. So everybody says, well, people don't ask for it at time of booking. Well, but it's showing up in satisfaction. And I think we need to analyze that. So I encourage you, in your power, start asking your travelers, your visitors, questions about green, not just quality, comfort, service, but I think we need to start asking green. We need data, and I think thank you, Elif. I think it is showing up in the customer. And then the final of that was amazing. That's quite encouraging that the restaurants were asking. So that's good that the businesses want it. We're way past time, not way past time, but past time. We have to stop there. Thank you all so very much. Don't go away. I've got a few announcements if I could. So let's applause for the panel. I've got housekeeping. I have to come over here to read it. Some activities going on here for just reminders for this evening and tomorrow. At 6 p.m., there's an optional, I guess it's cash bar, hall bar meetup here in the Hasselbacken on the second floor from 6 all the way through the evening, from 6 to 11 p.m., the hall bar meetup. Optional, right? Dinner's not included, and you're on your own for dinner. But then a reminder that if you're an early bird, you can join here it is. I don't have to look down there. The Walk and the Buzz in front of Skansen. That's next to this hotel at 7:30 a.m. for a walk to the museums. And then a reminder, tomorrow we start at 9 a.m. Sessions, you can see us, the doors open, and we begin promptly at 9. It's Sweden, we begin promptly 9:30 a.m. But we change venues entirely. These three museums are next to each other. So we have a little bit of intimacy in terms of the breakouts. The three of them are next to each other. They're three distinct buildings, but they're just side by side. But it's not in this neighborhood. So you got to consult the information we have on the map to go to these three museums: the Maritime Museum, Museum of Technology, Museum of Ethnology. Again, not here, different neighborhood, but the three of them are next to each other. So, a good day, a big day. Thank you so much. Thank you all again, panel. Thank you. Good job.